Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for September 9th. September 9th is the 252nd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 253rd in leap years, with 113 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is finger-licking good. I kid you not. It's an adjective. It's a colloquialism. In regards to food, it means very delicious, delectable, scrumptious. And figuratively, it means extremely good, superb. This word comes to us courtesy of Colonel Harlan Sanders, the founder and later brand ambassador of the U.S. fast food restaurant chain Kentucky Fried Chicken, now KFC, who was born on this day in 1890, as we will find out about here in just a little bit. Finger-licking good. And with that, we're going to start on September 9th, 1493, when Christopher Columbus set sail on his second voyage to the New World with 17 ships and 1,200 men. On this trip, they'll do more exploration of the Lesser Antilles, which are a group of islands in the Caribbean Sea. Mary Stuart was crowned Queen of Scots in Stirling, Scotland on September 9th, 1543. She was 9 months old at the time. This is the birthday of English officer and politician William Bligh, born September 9th, 1754. When I hear that name, I think of Mutiny on the Bounty. What a story that was, and like Charles Boycott, who we'll mention again in a little bit, he brought his difficulties upon himself. I talk more about the Mutiny on the Bounty in the April 28th video, which I'll link up in the corner there and in the show notes, so that you can check that out if you like. But this was his birthday. He lived to the age of 63. On September 9th, 1776, the Continental Congress officially named its Union of States the United States. The capital of the United States, Washington, D.C., was named after President George Washington on September 9, 1791. This is the birthday of Russian author and playwright Leo Tolstoy, born September 9, 1828. He's famous for such works as War and Peace, Anna Karenina, and others. He lived to the age of 82. September 9, 1845, may be the possible start of the Great Famine of Ireland. Within Ireland, it was known as the Great Hunger or the Famine, while outside of Ireland it was and still is called the Irish Potato Famine. Certainly was a terrible time. It's estimated that about 1 million people died in this famine, and more than 1 million fled the country. These combined factors caused a population decrease of as much as 67% in some towns and villages, averaging out across the country to about 20 to 25% loss of population. It's noted as one of the great mass exoduses from a single island in history. This difficulty of the Irish reminded me of the story of Charles Boycott, who was an estate manager for an absentee landlord in Ireland. But Boycott's issues with his tenants took place about 40 years after this famine started. The Irish famine was an extraordinarily difficult time. California was admitted as the 31st U.S. state on September 9, 1850. Now look here, do you love fried chicken? Specifically Kentucky Fried Chicken, which I believe has currently been rebranded as KFC. Well, this is the birthday of the founder of KFC, Colonel Harlan David Sanders, born September 9, 1890. His title of colonel, in this case, is not a title of military rank, but an honorary title, given to him in 1935 by the governor of Kentucky, Colonel Sanders. Much has been made of the 11 secret herbs and spices that are claimed to give this fried chicken its distinct flavor, and that may be true, but I think the real secret is the method he patented of cooking chicken in a pressure fryer. We're talking original recipe here. Kind of makes me want to go out and find the nearest KFC and get a couple pieces. Interesting character, Colonel Sanders, and he lived to the age of 90, bless his heart. This is the birthday of American singer, songwriter, and producer Otis Redding, born September 9th, 1941. He went to work in the music business from about the age of 15 or so, and worked with Little Richard's band, The Upsetters, and Booker T and the MGs, to name a couple. He had some records in the 60s, played roadhouses, did tours, performed at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967. He had written and recorded his hit, Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay, shortly before being killed in a plane crash at the age of 26. The song became the first posthumous #1 record on Billboard's Hot 100 and the R&B charts, and was also the first posthumous album to reach #1 in the UK Albums chart. Otis Redding. As early as September 9th, 1947, we have the first case of a computer bug being found. Literally, a moth got stuck in the relay of a Harvard Mark II computer at Harvard University. Elvis Presley appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show for the first time on September 9th, 1956. Today's song is Hangin' Tough by boy band New Kids on the Block, #1, September 9th, 1989. Boy bands were quite the thing around this time. Really, you could think of the Osmonds and the Jackson 5 as a boy band, but the concept really came into its own in the 80s and 90s. New Kids on the Block was created by producer Maurice Starr in 1986, according to a successful formula. Boy bands were to be trendy, conforming to the most recent fashion and musical trends. Each member would usually have some distinguishing feature by which he was identified, such as the shy one, the bad boy, the baby, and so on. Boy bands got a lot of coverage in teen magazines, with pictures, articles, promotional merch to keep them in front and center of the attention of their audience. Music for boy bands was typically written for them and tightly produced. Most boy bands from the 80s and 90s did not compose or produce their own material. Boy band performances are quite the production, including highly choreographed dancing. You can certainly see a good example of that in the video for today's song. According to the aforementioned formula, Hangin' Tough was written and produced by the group's producer, Maurice Starr. As I mentioned, he created New Kids on the Block in 1986, and by 1989, the group was the fastest rising act in the United States. Hangin' Tough by New Kids on the Block, #1, September 9th, 1989. Link in the description. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include the link to my blog page that is called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, Parler, BitChute, and Getter. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.